We have a special guest, it's Mandon Foley tonight, our spotlight speaker. So Mandon's been an agent for American Family Insurance for 10 years. He's married with 3 kids, the newest only being 3 weeks old. In his career with American Family Insurance, he's earned several district and state awards, including Agent of the Year for the state of Washington, and one of only 3 agents in the state to be a Hall of Fame agent.
No.
Today, we are going to be on the game show, Get Fully Insured, and here comes your host, Mandon Foley.
Right. Am I okay?
Oh, you're so good.
Okay.
I wish I could unsee.
All right, well, I'm your host today with Get Fully Insured. And with every game show, I'm going to need a couple of contestants. I need 2 contestants. Do you have any volunteers? John and Shane, you were the first ones to raise your hand. Come on up. All righty.
You're going down.
Shane,
Wrestling or?
Shane Bloom, is there anybody in the crowd you'd like to say hi to?
Hey, how are you?
John Bailey,
I'd like to say hello to all the little people that made this possible.
like myself.
You are a little guy.
All right. Applause everybody, applause everybody. All right, so today the first game that we are going to play is covered or not covered. Have you guys ever played this before?
No.
No. All right, I'm going to tell you a story, and then I'm going to ask if it's covered or not covered. So, after I ask that question, have you guys ever played Slapjack?
No.
No?
Not sure.
But it would be like Family Feud. Hit the table first.
Yep, but since I don't have a fancy buzzer, right here, this is going to be, the hand on the bottom is the winner and gets to answer that question. All right? Rules clear? Like Slapjack?
Copy.
Boom, boom. All right. So, a whale of a claim. Got a little whale there. Do me a favor and check me back in. Not so easy, right? So, this is an actual claim that happened down in, I believe it was Oregon. There was a whale beached dead, starting to get funky, right? So, what do you think the best way to get rid of a whale is on a beach? From the crowd, we've got dynamite. Exactly. So these people decided that the best way to dispose of this whale was to get dynamite and blow it up. You know, there's some logic behind that. You can maybe smaller pieces decompose faster. Maybe wash back into the ocean. So now the only problem is it was a little bit more powerful than they anticipated. This is not the actual car. This was just a picture that I found. But it paints a nice picture. Ew.
You can pretend that's
So, blubber dents and the funky stuff. Covered or not covered?
Covered.
And the answer is covered. Comprehensive claim. Covered under falling objects. All the blubber and everything, the dents and all that, it was something that was covered. We got 1 point for John Bailey. Everybody.
Gotta be quick, Chad.
So wait, can we address that? Because if it's caused by somebody, not Mother Nature, basically, how can it be comprehensive?
So the question is, if it was caused by somebody, how can it be comprehensive?
That's why it's covered.
So comprehensive covers everything that's not a collision or excluded. Therefore, falling objects or something that wasn't excluded specifically in the policy will be covered by comprehensive.
It could have been a branch, for instance, or a satellite.
Oh yeah. Yeah, those normally don't come into question, but I think the question was more directed that the explosion was caused by somebody. And so just as if you were cutting a tree down and it accidentally fell on your car, that would be a comprehensive
And your insurance
claim.
might go after the people who dynamited the whale's insurance.
Correct. Yeah.
There was severe castigation involved.
It's messy. And then we want to leave all that blubber on there so that there's a great investigation process that goes through. And we want to have it delivered to Center Collision on Center Street, who I believe they've got blubber removal and repair there.
Some sausage, maybe, I don't know.
So question number 2. The perfect claim. Does anybody have a classic car or something nice? Maybe a 58 Corvette convertible, maybe, similar colors. So it's parked in your garage, all nice and cozy, and you go out there
And a kitty.
and you see a nice little kitty. Meow, meow, meow. Little kitties like that don't tend to make claims. So let's back to reality. Nope, not a nice little kitty. Who's a nice little kitty? You see a little kitty in your car. You left the door open, and the kitty's in your car. Now, if that kitty were to, you just close the door because you're scared of the little kitty, and the kitty breaks his way out of your car.
Oh, that's quite a break.
Is the damage covered or not covered? The massive damage. Shane Bloom?
Oh, man. I'm going to go covered.
And you are right, Shane Bloom. That is a comprehensive claim.
I'm still working on it.
No kitty cat riders necessary, and it's not, there's no question under vermin or infestation.
How did the cat
I'm more worried
take
about
on
mice
front
than
end of the
cats.
car? I'm confused.
None of these pictures are from actual claims. So, the question of how did the kitty break out of the car is,
A radioactive cat.
so I should include those disclosures. So I'm sorry, the fine print.
What's the reason why it's covered under comprehensive?
It's covered under comprehensive because it was something that was out of your control. It wasn't a collision and it wasn't specifically excluded.
So, what if you leave your dog in your car?
And he
destroys
dies.
the inside of your car, is that covered?
Or
You
he
don't
eats
left your
the-
dog in the car?
Unless your policy specifically excludes
Unless
that,
it's a
yes.
pit bull.
Yeah.
I don't know of any pit bull exclusions on the auto policy.
Your plus homeowners.
Why would that be under comprehensive and not a claim on your homeowner's insurance?
Because homeowners insurance excludes damage to your car. So your car insurance has to have its own policy. So even if your car is parked in your garage and it's stolen or your garage catches on fire and burns your car, if you don't have coverage on your car, the homeowner's insurance has no coverage for it. No. And that goes with any land, I think the specifics are on the last policy I read were engine or motor propelled land vehicle with that goes more than 3 miles an hour that's not specifically used to maintain your property. And so, yes.
So a Tommy truck wouldn't be involved in that.
So if you have an engine propelled land vehicle that goes more than a few miles an hour and is not used specifically to maintain your property, then you should have an insurance policy on it. Yeah.
So my brother-in-law that has cattle, and he uses his little four-wheeler to go out and check his property, herd his cattle.
The four-wheel will have limited coverage on it. So, but it has something. Most people get those insured. On a farm, they have
Right.
specific policies for that. So on to the next question. Are you gentlemen ready?
Yeah.
Because this is a hail of a claim. So as you know, hail damage is, we don't run into it much here, but it's huge in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And as you can see right there, there's a lot of damage that can be done to your car. Another example here. supposed to say something funny about having enough life insurance because you never know what's going to happen. And so with hail damage,
All the hail just turned into one ball.
yes, but on that regular stuff, all that damage that's done to the car because of hail, and you terrible dental plan. It was a stretch. It was a stretch. My writers were on strike. So, is the hail damage covered or not covered?
Not covered.
He got you. And it is covered.
I'm sensing a trend here.
So, comprehensive.
I was gonna say not covered too.
Oh, yeah?
So the hail damage is covered.
Now, is this just basic coverage from any company, or is this just, you're talking about as an earth event?
Pacific.
Most of this, each company does have its own specific policy that's written. So each company has certain things that are excluded and covered. But comprehensive claim, this is the majority of comprehensive coverage will cover this stuff. All right, so we've got
Did I lose a point for that?
John
Probably.
with 1 and Shane with 1. We'll do that. But we have a bonus question.
Oh, here it is.
Yep.
Let's end it.
All right. So, oh my gosh, here's more hail damage. Now, this person, to paint a little picture, when there's hail damage of massive size, our company will get a team of people, and they have a catastrophe team that comes out, and they'll set up shop, and instead of going to each individual house or whatever, people can just drive up, and they process the claim, cut them a check on the way. So, now this person has dents all over the car, and then they took a little paint pen, and they circled all the little paint damage, or all the dents in their car.
He's right here.
Thank you, Vanna. And so all those little O's caused by the hail, is it covered or not covered? John got it.
Did I get it?
Yeah.
I think those are not covered.
Are the dents covered or not covered?
Well, the dents would be, but the paint would not be.
So the dents are covered.
Yes.
So the dents are covered on comprehensive, but what about all those little O's?
Did I understand correctly, the guy put the little O's on himself?
Yeah, he wanted to make sure that the department, or that Center Collision knew where all the dents were to make sure that they all got fixed.
We use those pants, they're washable, right?
If
Yes.
it's washable, then it's not even white coverage.
Yes, so the professional shop that does it on a regular basis, who uses washable ink,
But this
would mark
guy-
that. This gentleman
He used permanent.
might not have. So what about the not so Cheerios? Covered or not covered?
I said not covered.
You need to put your hand down.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, Shane. Sleeping on the job. Hell no, it's not covered. It was intentional damage. So you got to it ahead of time, John. So I think you squeaked ahead. So John, congratulations.
So I think we tied, actually.
You are actually the winner
got the
because you got the
bonus
bonus. You got the bonus question. So everybody, let's give these guys a round of applause. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, John.
So why wouldn't they be covered? Because you have to redo the anyway. Bandit?
So,
Question about that.
so a lot of the hail damage, that question was a little bit, I guess, deceiving because of the amount of hail damage that particular car had. But that particular car, you probably couldn't fix with dentless dent repair. But there have been claims where people have done things like that, where they circle the dents, and maybe there's a handful of them, and they'll use the paintless dent repair and just massage out the dents, and that would, then the paint damage from the other stuff might not be covered. So with claims, there's always variables. So a lot of times it's hard to say, well, in this specific situation, is it covered or not covered? Because it could be a variable of, okay, well, they could have fixed it with the paintless dent repair, but now that you actually damaged the vehicle, and in the situation that I was referencing, not that specific vehicle or those that situation, that it was a white Mustang, and he circled it with a permanent marker, and so then it turned in from paintless dent repair to having a whole car repainted, or a section repainted, or depending on how good the shop is, right, Kevin? So, so today's game show is about comprehensive coverage and to teach people about that. There are all sorts of different coverages when it comes to your insurance, and there are all sorts of different situations that fall under all of the different coverages. And there's no way that in a short period of time I could go over each one specifically, and you'll leave with an understanding of all of your coverage. So I thought we'd just pick something, and we would just go over that for fun. So a little bit different format. Wanted to change it up to maybe get people to comprehend a little bit more. Oh yeah, yep. The writers, I don't need writers. Strike all you want. So just a couple minutes for questions. Thank you again for our contestants. And sorry, Shane, but we'll have some party gifts for you. Does anybody have any questions on any situations that I might be able to answer?
Okay, you still got me on the whale blubber thing.
Back to the whale blubber.
Here's why. Because remember you and I discussed a claim a while ago, and it had to do with the shopping cart hit a guy's car.
Yes.
Okay, and you were trying to determine whether that thing just, the wind blew it and knocked it into the car, or somebody pushed it.
Yes.
And if it was the wind blew it, then it would be comprehensive. But if he saw that somebody had let go of it and it rolled down to his car, then it wasn't comprehensive. Is that right?
So the question involves a shopping cart and a car in a parking lot.
The reason I bring it up is because it's an intentional thing. Like you said, the whale blowing up, they intentionally put dynamite in it, right? Just like the shopping
So the
cart.
difference, so the question is, a shopping cart rolls into a car causing damage. Now, some of these coverages have different deductibles as well, so it might be covered under different categories, but the deductible could be different and it could make a difference. So it's regular for people to have a higher collision deductible because that's something that's their fault. They collided with something, they're okay with paying a higher deductible, but something that's out of control that happens to their car, they would rather pay a lower deductible. So in this situation, a shopping cart hits a car, and it rolls into the car, which is, it collided with the car, so it could be a collision. If the wind blew it into the car, then we could get it covered under a comprehensive claim because it was wind that did it, which was kind of a stretch. But the problem was if it was an unknown, and the customer first described it as somebody put a cart in and then walked away, and then it rolled into their car, and so that's why there was some issue. But then this the story changed. Now, so that question's being compared because was that intentional or not intentional damage to the car? Because if it was pushed and was intentional, then that would be a collision. But it's more than that. The blubber was covered under falling objects. It wasn't a rolling, thing, and so it wasn't And in that particular situation, I believe it was their own car too. It wasn't somebody else's. But that's why every story is different, and so they have adjusters that try and find a way to get this stuff covered, and sometimes it's covered under multiple different categories.
So either way, the shopping cart would have been covered, it was just, if it was classified under comprehensive, the guy has a lower deductible.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And that was, yeah, that's why it was covered either way, but one had a $1,000 collision deductible and one had a $250 comprehensive deductible.
So if
So-
somebody was angry at
Depending on
that,
his state.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was his own statement that, which, the truth is the statement that should be made. It's, it's not a matter of, well, I want to make a statement based on what the lowest deductible is. That's insurance fraud, if any of you guys are wondering what happens if you decide to do that. But it's just, the truth is
So say
what they use.
He took a parking spot that somebody else wanted, and that person, after he left, got angry and took his shopping cart and just kept banging it into it. Then that would be,
Collision.
Hopefully,
Smacking it from a top.
That would be a
So you
crime.
didn't have an angry.
that would be,
yeah, or you want to see if I'm covered or not.
now, in that case, I would lean towards vandalism,
Okay.
because it was intentional damage to their car.
Uninsured motorist coverage?
I don't know if an uninsured motorist coverage would, because there was no driver of the vehicle. So, or whatever or object. But it could be the difference of you're driving down the freeway and some boards fall off the truck in front of you onto the ground, you hit it, that's a collision. But if those boards fell off the truck onto your vehicle, that would be comprehensive because you didn't run into it. And those stink. Those are terrible situations, but they happen. And you do your best to try and get through it, but they have to have a line somewhere, and that's where they draw the line. When I was being taught the difference between comprehensive and collision, the teacher said, well, if a deer jumps out in front of you,
That's crazy.
that's a comprehensive claim because it was a wild animal that jumped in front of you out of your control. Now, if that deer was dead in the road and you hit it, that would be a collision. Because,
But living, standing, it's still like.
yep, yep, yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So, that's the end of my presentation. Get fully insured, everyone.